Good evening. Welcome to that Millwall podcast. We've had some serious technical issues over at that Millwall podcast this evening. I'm not sure Mickey's laptop has survived the night. So I'm not sure he's going to be able to join us. He will do his best, but we're not sure. But we're live. We're still pumping out the content. And I'm joined by our Northern correspondent that way. Ben, how are you?
Evening, mate. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well. Really, really looking forward to tomorrow. Back, the proper football's back. Obviously at the
Yeah,
international break
the painful
last weekend.
international break, mate.
Yeah, it was. It's been poor. Good evening, Anthony. Hope you're well. Just to point out, guys, that some of these comments here. This is Mickey, I believe. Why are we waiting? Just can't get the staff nowadays. About bloody time. Mickey, sort your internet out, and then you can get involved. Evening, Anthony. Mickey posted out on the chat earlier. Again, we were supposed to be live at 8, but he's tried to entertain you in there as best he can. The best Millwall 11 that you've seen in your lifetime. Now, of course, depending on how old you are, how long you've been following the Lions, your team could have some different faces in it. Myself and Ben, we're around the same age, very, very similar. So our players and selections are very, very similar. I will try and go back and get some of the comments on the screen. But Ben, I'm going to put you straight in. The best Millwall 11 that you've seen in your lifetime. And I swear to God, if you say Shane Ferguson, I'm kicking you out.
Right, just to add a little bit of context there before everyone guns me in the comments, you and I both said, so I think we just went straight to a 4-4-2, didn't we?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as soon as I did it, I went, fuck, our whole left side, because I really wanted to put Tony Craig in at left back. And I thought, everyone loves TC, but was he that good? Like he was just a solid Millwall player, wasn't he? I wouldn't have said he was a great left back, and maybe Chris Chaps made a point just about recency bias, and I think the way that football's moved on, I was kind of thinking, yeah, more of a sort of a modern day left back. So I was struggling at left back, but anyway, I didn't go with Shane Ferguson. All the listeners will be pleased to know.
What
Should we go position for position?
Yeah, I was going to say we'll do each other's.
Yours.
Do a couple of these. Evening, Mike, Andrew. Evening to my mum, Monica, Spencer, Mark, Anthony, Dan. Thank you very much for joining us. I know we're a little bit late, but we're currently going to go through what we consider our best Millwall 11.
And whilst we're doing that, should we get the listeners to do their rather than their whole team, do keeper first, and we'll go through it like that. So we can keep track of it.
Yeah, so if you want to play along, Anthony's already got in with one. Denzel in goal. I'm gonna sneak my one first because that's who I had. I had Tony Warner in goal in my team. Ben.
Well, I had Ford. It was just maybe he probably wasn't the best keeper we've ever had, but I think about all my favourite memories as a Millwall fan, and Fordy was front and centre of that. So I'm going to stick with Fordy. And to be fair, I was trying to go, is this my favourite Millwall 11 or is it the best that I've seen? And I've tried to combine it a little bit of the two. So I'm going to go with Fordy.
Yeah, Dan, best Millwall 11. It's best Millwall 11 who you've seen in your lifetime. So obviously there'll be listeners that will say perhaps Teddy Sheringham, Barry Cripps, players like that. We can't comment on those because we've not seen them. But it's players that you've seen playing a Millwall shirt. So we've got a few coming in. We've got Bart, we've got Denzel, Brian Horn, Casey Keller. That was another good shout.
Yeah,
that would have been another good shout.
Probably a bit young to see Casey in his pomp, I would say.
Yeah, I remember him. I've got a picture of him at some open day, and honestly, I don't remember. I know the name, but I wouldn't know. Evening, Darren, Casey Keller. Mickey off the pod account is saying Horny as well. Again, it's I think a lot of answers are going to be very similar, dependent on an age range. But we'll go now.
Am I the only person who said 40 so far?
You are. We've had Casey Keller, Bart. Mickey's put Jordan Archer. No.
Can we block our own account?
Peter, I'll come back to one of your picks in a minute. It's not a goalkeeper, but I'll come back to that one in a second. Mike has come in straight away with his team: Hornday, Dawes, Coleman, Wood, Stevens, Bailey, Herlock, Carter, Lawrence, Sheringham, Cascarino. He is of an age, I can say that because he sits in front of me and I'm likely to see him tomorrow, so he won't kill me for that.
I was going to say, you're brave there, mate.
Casey Keller again. Right, we're going to move on to the right back. And this one sparked a little bit of a debate, I think, as well. Ben, who'd you go at right back?
So I went with someone that only played a very small amount of games for us, but the games he did play, he was just absolute pure class for us, and someone that I really wished we were talking about this player just before we came on air. That we had for a little bit longer one and a bit earlier in his career, and just because how good he was, I went with Carlos Edwards. He was absolutely top draw, and I just wish we had him for a little bit longer and a little bit earlier in his career because he was mustard.
When you posted that earlier, because guys, we obviously had a conversation about this earlier on in the day. There was a post on Twitter that did the rounds, and as usual, one of us spots it and puts it in, and we kind of have our say. When you posted Carlos Edwards in the chat, I was a bit like, wow, that's interesting. But when you think how good he was for his age, at that stage of his career, he was keeping players a lot younger than him out of the side, and it was only, I think, he got a bit of a shocker. He got a bit of a shocker injury at the Den. I remember it was at the home end, and you knew at his age he probably wasn't gonna.
When did we get him? About 36? Did we say?
Yeah,
when we got him in?
Yeah, so 36, and his last game was 38. So. And again, he was very, very good. My pick, there's a couple of people that have mentioned this guy. My pick was actually Lucas Neal.
Yeah, I was going to be my second pick.
Yeah, I was only young at the time, and it's not like I've memories as I do perhaps players in the last maybe 5-10 years, but he was so good. He was such a good fullback, and again, I loved Lucas Neal, another one of the Aussie contingent. We've got Alan Dunn. That was one that sparked a little bit of debate. I think I love Dunny.
Yeah,
I love Alan Dunn, but he played in about 6 different positions, and he's right back probably. Right back was probably his best position, and his most prominent position. But Alan Dunn, much like Tony Craig, I love him, but was he really that good?
Yeah, that was what I said. Exactly, yeah, word for word, pretty much, mate. Loved him, brilliant, Mill through and through. Dare I not teetering on legends territory just for the.
He's up there. He's up there, I think.
So, I mean, teetering, I'd say on legend, that debate that we have. But yeah, for me, was he that good? He was just a very Millwall type player.
Kenny Cunningham, Lucas Neal was mustard or done. Connor, I'm going to assume that this was a bit of a joke, but Diego Fabrini, Dennis Salmon, Dunn, Kingy in goal.
Amazing the amount of people that have said Dunny.
Yeah. Didn't Lucas Neal leave because he didn't want to play right back? There is something about that, but he was very good at right back. That's why we got him in. Evening Paul, Connor's seen sense and gone with Lucas Neal. Best goalkeeper from David, new one there, Alex Stepney. I'm sure again there'll be lots of people out there that would agree with that. Evening Bobby, where's Mental Mickey? Mental Mickey is having issues with his internet and his laptop. He is trying to get on, but we're not sure he's gonna join us. But and the topic, Bobby, is best Millwall 11 that you've seen. We're going through positions, so we're going to go through it before we move on to talk about tomorrow's game. Dunn, TC, Frampton, Alex Pearce, all Millwall type players, but just not that good. Alex, that's bang on, and that this is the thing, isn't it? It's
saying they're not that good. I think is harsh, but I think they were we probably shone them in a higher light than they probably were because they were Mill type players or Mill Academy players that stayed with us forever, right?
Yeah, and Andy Frampton, I mean, had the redemption story of, similar to Murray Wallace, come in, was a bit ropey, was, close to being shown the door, and then turn around and won player of the season. So it can be done. And it's just one of those, that they reach a level and they're consistent, but they don't push on to be that little bit better. Interestingly, and this was one I actually forgot about, Matty Lawrence. I cannot believe I forgot about Matty Lawrence. I'm going to hold my hands up.
I was. They were my three that I had, and I was trying to. Well, one, I wanted to be a bit different because I didn't think anyone would say Carlos Edwards, and they probably would look at him and go, "Oh, he only played what did we say, 30 games or something for us." But I just thought, as a football player, he is by far and away the best right back I've seen for us.
David Ray Evans. I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually know who that is. Again, that's probably my age coming into play there, but I'm not going to dispute that. I'm sure he was fantastic. Hello, boys, liking the hairstyle, Stephen. Thank you. I've gone very, very short.
No mention for Marlon chaps or ladies and chaps, I should say. No mention for Marlon. Anyone? Just thought I might stick it in.
Mickey, watching live on my phone, first time viewer live, cracking show, to be honest. Fully understand now why you lot tune in. If you could just put that in your proper, like your own YouTube channel rather than the pod account, that'd be great. Glowing endorsement from ourselves. Robbie Rama's good left back. Well, that leads us very, very nicely onto the left back position. Ben, as we touched on earlier, struggled on our left-hand side. We didn't really know.
I would still be there now, mate. I think trying to figure out a whole left midfield and left back. By the way, for the sake of this, I think we are going 4-4-2, right? For the sake of the now.
We are, but my left winger, my left winger is a rogue left winger. It's a bit like when Sven played Paul Scholes out there. I'm kind of going down that route. But left back.
Yeah, I had Robbie Ryan as well. I struggled with left back. I said I was trying to get away from Tony Craig. I was this desperate. I was going, Shane Ferguson could play left back. I might have to put him at left midfield at this rate. I might have to play Scott Barron at left back. And I was going through some names just to try and get someone in. But yeah, Robbie Ryan, and then Chaps again, stuck Robbie Ryan in, and I went, yeah, actually, he was probably the best.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of Ian Dawes is one. Again, I'm pretty sure if my dad was commenting on this and I'd asked him the question, he's one that he talks about very highly. And again, one I think will dominate this with a lot of the comments. Ian Dawes, again, an interesting there. Scott Barron, Ben Thatcher, and that was one of the, I believe, who did I say it was earlier that commented? That was the player that someone, Peter from earlier commented. Ben Thatcher, again, someone very, very. I think quite underrated was Ben Thatcher. Again, James Meredith solely for that first season back in the Championship.
Yeah, he was good.
He was good, but I think the less said about him, the better moving forwards. Ben Thatcher, Super Ricky Newman, Ben Thatcher, Nick Coleman or Ian Dawes. Look no further than Harry Cripps. Yeah, again, it's very interesting that the different age. You can tell what listeners were listening in what era because everyone's kind of giving very similar answers. Ian Dawes, James Meredith, Dawes or Thatcher, Josh Simpson, Aussie boy, Josh Simpson.
I remember him.
No, there was a Josh someone, a Canadian guy. I don't remember an Aussie one. Josh.
I've got Josh Simpson here. No, he's an English player that played at Cambridge. There's one here, Josh Simpson, a Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian. That's it. Yeah, he's Canadian. It was. Yeah, that's it.
2004 to 2006, and he played. I don't remember him at all.
Yeah, he come over with Adrian Giroud, didn't he? The bloke who had the long throw.
I don't remember him.
Phil Babb. Now we're going to move on to the centre back positions. And
should we go pairings here? Let's do pairings.
Yeah, we'll do pairings. This is interesting because and this is a little bit of a teaser for a couple of shows that we've got coming up. We're looking at doing a couple of head-to-heads between players from different teams, different eras. It's something that's coming, so keep an eye on the YouTube and socials for that. Again, I had three. I had three to narrow down to two, and my three were Darren Ward, Sean Hutchinson, and Paul Robinson.
I'm pleased you only had three. I had five.
I mean, I did have more, but I narrowed it down to they were the three that I had to pick two from. I'm not gonna. I'll do one of mine first. Darren Ward was one of the, in my opinion, and I might get absolutely hammered for this, but I thought he was absolutely Rolls Royce of a defender.
Yeah,
Superb.
I had Wardy.
Yeah,
Wardy was in my
superb.
five. He didn't make my two.
He was absolutely superb, and for me, he was always going in. Ben, do you want to give us one of yours?
I want to do my two honourable mentions, just because I want to talk about why they're honourable mentions. They might make another show we're going to be doing. But one of was Zach Whitbread, and as a football player, again, he was a classy centre half. I think, again, he would have been better suited to how centre backs are now, a bit more ball playing. And at the time, it wasn't really suited like that. I wouldn't say he was the best in the air, but again, he was a very good footballer. Come from Liverpool, didn't he? From their youth academy.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
A very, very good, good ball playing centre half, and someone we could probably do with now. So he was. I was going to chuck him in just to be a bit rogue. He didn't make it, and the other one, mainly because I love him, and he had a really tough start of us, was Webby, Brian Webster. He obviously came from Yeovil, struggled. He basically got booed out the side, didn't he, when he first came to us, and then just completely turned it around. And I think everyone loved him towards the end, so he was very close. But one of my two, I mean, a lot of people probably have him, is Robbo. Had to have Paul Robinson in there.
Yeah, I think, and this again, the head-to-head for me, my Wardy was one, and my head-to-head was Paul Robinson and Sean Hutchinson.
Hutch was my second.
Yeah, in my time, and I'm sure your time, I think those two centre halves have probably been the kind of stalwart, throw themselves in front of a brick wall for their respective Millwall sides. Robbo is a legend in my opinion. He's still at the club. I said it earlier. I don't think I've ever heard anyone have a bad word to say about him. He speaks well. He loves the club. And I when he scored the goal, he had Gregory and Morrison in that. Gregory and Harris in that. No, Morrison and Harris in that playoff winning side, who scored all the goals that season. But I love that it was Paul Robinson that scored the goal that got us promoted. That was great for me. And again, Hutch, stalwart, similar mould to Robbo, the next one on the conveyor belt, if you will, and someone who come from up north and just bought into what it meant to be a Millwall player. I left Hutch out, I have to say, and I've got a lot to say. He's probably one of my favourite players, but I couldn't find a way to pick him over Robbo.
Yeah, I managed to, and again, I was just trying to go on how good they. So it was all these people are when we're in their prime, right, and how good that we've seen them. So I just went, when we first got him, or that sort of year after, Hutch is up there with the best centre halves I've seen for us by a country mile. And I've said it on the show a few times that maybe not so much now, and things have changed, but I don't think there's any better, or there wasn't, say, a year ago or 18 months ago, than Hutch and Coops in the league as centre-half pairings. I thought we probably had the best. I think that will change now. I hope recency bias doesn't come into how people view Hutch, and he is getting a little bit older. He is getting more injuries. He's struggling a little bit. I hope he does come back and play a part in the team. So, yeah, but for me, Hutch and Robbo, I went with.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got loads of comments here, so I'm going to try and run through as many of them and getting them all up. Colin Cooper and McCleary, Kitchen Rhino, Jake Cooper, Shittu and Kitchener. Danny Shittu.
I knew someone was going to say Danny Shittu. No, he weren't that good, was he? We just bought into him. He weren't that good. He wasn't.
Jake Cooper, Paul Robinson, Colin Cooper and Rhino, Cooper and Wood, Kitchener and Robinson. Cooper and Nethercott.
Yeah, Nevers. I was going to.
Nevers was Nethercott all day long. Nethercott, Dyche or Colin Cooper. See, when you do this and you hear all this, Nethercott and Robbo, Kitch and Colin Cooper, especially players that you grew up watching, and you just think it's so hard to do this. An 11 of all the players. Kitch best ever. Pretty sure again. There'll be a lot of supporters that will say that, and it'd probably be hard to argue it. But unfortunately, never seen the great man. Peckham Beckham, David Tuttle, anyone? I'm not sure that is. From Liverpool.
David's trying to say Kitch. I'm assuming he's struggling with a keyboard.
Scott Fitzgerald, that's an interesting one. That's a bit of a rogue one. Centre backs: Tony Witter, David Tuttle. Colin Cooper, Steve Wood or Darren Ward, Kitchen Rhino, Kitchener, Stuart Nethercott, Razor, Ruddock. This is interesting. Robbo scored in the semi-2 against.
I was about to say, when you were talking about that is my favourite goal of his, not the Swindon one. That is. Goal.
That was unreal. That was absolutely unreal. Worst ever midfield. Hurley. We've got, who remembers, Stephen McFowle. I remember the name. Shitu is nowhere near sorry. I don't think he was one of the best. Rhino Kitch was something else. Right. Let's move on to the midfield. Now, I don't really know how to do this because mine's a little bit rogue.
You've got your change formation at this point, didn't you?
Yeah. So I'm going kind of with a 3-man midfield. And then an attacking midfielder. So Ben is gone.
Have you gone 3 just central midfielders then?
Well,
in front, or are you kind of playing?
Is
it a diamond? Know. Talk to me, Stephen. What is it?
Right. I'm gonna right. One of my midfielders is Jed Wallace. Jed Wallace can play wherever the hell he wants. So he's got the free roam. He's I'm not restricting him to a position. He can do whatever he likes. So he's my attacking midfielder. For me,
I'll say I've got Jed in my team, but he's playing left midfield for me because I said we did struggle, and Dan quite rightly pointed out he did play on the left sometimes, but I think that was more the case. He just, as you said, fucking went everywhere.
He just
Jed was in left midfield for me.
Rogue, Ben's tried to be a football purist, and I am a big fan of that and respect it massively. But I couldn't pick a left winger.
You're playing with inverted wing backs and trying to be like Pep.
Exactly. I'm the new school.
4-4-2.
So we've both got Jed Wallace playing in slightly different roles. My midfield, I think it's pretty obvious for anybody of our era. Tim Cahill, without a doubt. For me, it's got to be in my Millwall 11. He will probably be in my Millwall 11 for the rest of time, unless we get bought out by some Saudi owner and end up with like a Harlem Globetrotter style team. Jimmy Abdu is.
Did you put Jimmy in?
I did, yeah. I did. I had to put Jimmy in. He wasn't the best player, and I understand that, but his role in that team, he was the best in the league at doing what he had to do.
Yeah.
And obviously I do have quite a few attacking players in my team, so I've kind of thought I'd try and balance it a little bit and have a little bit of a defensive midfielder. But again, it's more potentially with Jimmy. It was because of the performance levels that we saw from him and the job that he could do. My other 2 midfielders, my other one. So I've got Jed playing wherever he wants, Tim, Jimmy, and I went Stephen Reid. Reedy was an unbelievable player. I know, again, he probably played in a couple of different positions, but I remember him scoring some absolute bangers from midfield. And I had a lot of time for Reedy, and he's just unbelievable player.
Yeah, I had Timmy in mine. I'm actually looking at it now, going, we're just going all out attack. We'll score more than you. I Jed on the left because I struggled with a left midfielder, and I found it easy to get people on the right hand side. My right winger was Paul Eiffel. He, for me, was as good a right winger as we've had. And then, controversially, probably some may say, given how much shit I give him, but I did get Zian in there, and I just think, as a technical player, as a technical player, I'm going to get abused for it. But yeah, as a technical player, I think he might not be the best for us. It's going to sound mental, but I think he might turn out to be the best player that we've had.
Okay.
And that's the end of tonight's show.
Yeah, Ben won't be joining us again ever again.
So yeah, my midfield four is Paul, Eiffel, Kale, Fleming, and Jed.
You don't care about defending, do you? You ain't. Nah. Centre mid has to be Herlock. Les Briley. Old Klopp over there. Herlock, Alex Ray, Hill, Ray, Herlock, Carter, Terry the King with Les. I'm assuming that's meant to say Les Briley, not Les Bromley. So Terry, Herlock, Tim Cahill, Herlock, Ray, Cahill. Cahill has got to be number one for me. Yeah. Otolakowski, Wallace, Herlock, Cahill, Ray, Cahill, Abdu, Kante before there was a Kante. Absolutely. That is comment of the night so far. Yeah. 100%. Briley and Herlock, Cahill, no contest. Herlock and Saville. It hurt me to not get George Saville in my team, but I couldn't. I had to pick Jimmy over him to do that.
Just to add as well, Stephen did then caveat this game because he wanted to get Savin so badly by saying we could also have 3 honourable mentions.
Yeah, I did. And he was first one, literally. I was like, please, let me move in. Alex Ray. Dan, I agree. Ben, leave the podcast now.
Sorry.
Zian for the song alone. Okay, you do have a friend. Centre mid, Herlock, Cahill, Alex Ray. Ben going Kevin Keegan style. He is. He's going all out attack. I love it. Good shout on Andy Mayer as a holding midfielder. Ali Fusini love Ali Fusini. Saville can be a sub. Yeah, absolutely. Kennedy, Callaghan, and Carter, best wingers. Jed not on their level. I to be honest with you, from what I've seen, Jimmy Carter and Mark Kennedy were unreal, but I never saw them like actually
again,
live.
Yeah, we tried to. Again, that was the point. Like we were trying to pick players that we'd seen.
Yeah. Now this is before we do our strikers, because let's be honest. Let's be honest. There's going to be probably everybody's going to pick out probably I would say the same 5 or 6 strikers, depending on any era. They're going to pick the same 5 or 6. And I'm going to do another little bit of a teaser for you guys. And I'm going to do this because I just want to see what kind of response we're going to get from it. We have been discussing over at that little pod HQ about the WhatsApp group. Yeah, basically the WhatsApp group. That's headquarters. That head-to-heads with certain players from certain eras and who you could pick and who you'd like. Now, before we do our strikers, one of the head-to-heads that's come up, guys, and I'm going to do a quick poll. And again, we are going to do a show around this, and we're going to have people on each side of the debate. I'm going to make Ben's head explode because I'm going to ask him. And right, guys, just before you do your strikers, right? This is purely for some research for a show that we're going to do. So if you can comment, if you had to pick in their prime, Lee Gregory or Tom Bradshaw to lead the line, you had to pick one. Which one do you pick and why? Ben, over to you.
Am I doing my top Bradshaw or Greg?
Yeah.
Oh, I know we're doing a show on this. I'm sitting up and everything now. It's getting serious. So that was, believe it or not, everybody, a very fucking hard decision because I love Greg nearly as much as I love Bradders. We went into and did some research, or I did, on how many goals each of them scored at championship level, and Bradders had the best record. So purely on that, and I know everyone's going to come at me, or everyone's going to come at me again and say, yeah, flash in the pan, all this stuff. But purely for his goal scoring record last year, I'm going with Bradders.
Sorry, before.
But I love Greg's. I do love Greg's.
Hold on. Wait. Before. How's Greg's mum compared with Bradders? We don't know. If someone can find her, then please do.
If anyone can get a picture of Lee Gregory's mum, then I'll let you know.
So yeah, guys, We're gonna do the proper strikers. Who we would have in our team. I'm going to go just a couple of the comments that have come in on this. Gregory,
Yeah, everyone's going to
Greg's,
say that. It's just lads, go and have a look.
Gregory,
Go and have a look at his goal scoring records. Go and have a look at goal scoring records.
Lee
That's all I'm gonna say.
Gregory.
It's madness.
My wife would
Whoa,
choose
whoa.
both great.
Go back. There was a more clinical one in there. Jesus Christ! Did we watch the Gregs?
Clinical.
Also, they're exactly the same.
Gregs all day long. However, you have a friend.
Get him on here. Who is it?
Long-term listener, and I'm very surprised that
is it Mickey?
But no, it's Chris Bradshaw over Gregory. You have a supporter.
Just saying,
Gregory for me.
Greg's. Listen, I love Greggs. I really do. He's one of my favourite Millwall players, I would say. However,
that's unfair because Bradders didn't play much with Morrison. No, he didn't. But we're just talking about purely who we would want to lead the line, not necessarily.
Go and have a look at goal scoring records where Greg's got all his goals. It was in League One, and have a look at how many goals he got in the Championship for us. So I'm saying.
Defense. Up.
See, we've got more people that see in the light.
Bradshaw scored 17 last season. Gregory never got near that in the Championship. Dan, is this Ben's final appearance tonight? I don't know. We may review the contract. Anthony's posted this again. I think he's desperate for us to know that his wife would choose both Gregory and Bradshaw. Yeah, that's fair enough. Spencer, both great runners, hard workers, Bradders and his mum.
Yeah, exactly.
As a lone striker.
Until I can see Gregor's mum, it's no contest.
As a lone striker, Bradders. Well, that show's coming. We're gonna look at that a little bit more in depth and get a proper show on that. I just wanted to see Ben's head explode.
No, I love Gregory. I do. If you'd have said someone else, maybe. But
now our strikers, and again, guys, there's a couple of comments that I will come back to because a couple of people have put their strikers in already. Again, there's probably one or two of six really that are probably going to be picked on this. Ben, who's your two?
Bomber and Morrow. Again, just thinking about times of when I saw us, it probably, again, for me, probably our most successful period, amount of playoff finals or appearances and just unbelievable trips to Wembley we had. It was just, for me, Bomber and Morrow, for very different reasons. I think Morrow, we always have that part of the fan base that just don't like him, but I think that's more for things that have been said, right? And for me, he was as good a target man forward, but could also finish that I've seen. And we don't say anything about Bomber, do we?
No, that they're two in our era. I mean, between them, I don't know this exactly, but Morrison was in the 90s. I think Harris was in the 130s, 140 goals for us. Over 200 goals between them in my lifetime. Morrison, I've got 91 in my head for Morrison. And Harris was around either 130 or 140, I think. So over 200 goals, give us some amazing moments. Neil Harris, again, much like Tim Cahill for me, Neil Harris will make any Millwall side for the rest of my life. I don't think anyone will ever take his place. And maybe people said that about Teddy and Harris come along, but with football how it is nowadays, I just don't see how anybody can really ever get close to. I think
the longevity kills it now, doesn't it? As well, like you just never.
Yeah.
Morrow was
Harris
92,
and Teddy.
92.
There we go. Teddy and Cass. Chopper got to be in there. Posse, Sheringham, Harris. Yeah, Posse, Sheringham, Harris, Morrison, Gregory. Again, names that it's very difficult to look outside of those, really. Got to be Teddy and Sir Neil. Moody, sadly, a Harris. Andy Keogh, that's an interesting one. Harris, Teddy. Chopper and Gregory, interestingly. That's an interesting one. Ted and Harris, Sheringham and Bomber, Moody, Morrison on the bench, Darius Henderson, Teddy and Harris. It's just, yeah. I mean, guys, there's a lot of you commenting. Harrison Sheringham, Sad's a very good shot if he could have stayed fit. Again, if he could have stayed fit, he would have been
Chaps
right
had
up
him
there in
in,
that.
didn't he?
Yeah, well, sort of. He tried to pick three strikers, and I just weren't having none of it. You pick two, and that's it.
Did he? I
Um,
think so.
yeah, he did. He had three,
Oh,
so
he did. Yeah, he did cheat. Yeah.
he did cheat. Yeah, the two Russians. Less said about them, the better, I think. Sad was unreal with Harris, Teddy Cass, Malcolm Allen. Yeah, again, names. Neil Harris and Steve Morrison were a great partnership. They were, and it it it's unfortunate that we never got to see more of that because again, Harris was towards the end of his career, really, wasn't he? And Morrison moved on. Teddy Harris, sadly, would have been a top player in the Prem. Chris Wood was on fire. If we'd have kept him, who knows? Same with
No
Huckabee.
one
What a
said Harry
player!
Kane.
No, well, I did say that we couldn't have loan players. So
He weren't. I mean, he weren't. You would never. If anyone had seen him play for us and had guessed he'd gone on to do what he's doing, I'd have
yeah.
called you absolutely off your head. So,
Are we doing a bench? We did
three honourable
do.
mentions, Alex.
Yeah, we did an honourable mention, Alex. We did a midfielder, a defender, and a forward. I cannot remember who my forward was. My midfielder was George Saville, and my defender was Sean Hutchinson. Ben, if you
I
want to,
didn't do. I didn't do my three. I'll have to come back to you on that. I think.
I can't remember either as my forward. Yeah, I can. I think maybe Lee Gregory possibly would have been my.
I'm going to get abuse now because people think I don't like Greg's, and I do love Greg's.
No, he hates him. He hates him. He hates him. Get him.
Don't.
Harry, Darius Henderson, Jamie Morale. Oh God.
I could have Josh McCoy my bench.
If you can, mate, if you're trying to get Shane Ferguson in your team. Man United was looking into Sad, but the injury killed the dream. Sunderland still fell through. Sunderland paid 9 million for Flo, I believe. I believe that I think Sunderland were one of the clubs that were looking at him. Best manager ever. That's a good question for me. The best in my look, the best manager Millwall probably ever had was someone that wasn't in my lifetime because it was the manager that got us into the top division. So that I would possibly the best, but in my lifetime, I think it's
King
hard
Kenny.
to look past Kenny. Yeah, Kenny Jackett. Very difficult
Kenny.
to.
Yeah, I think people of our age research all the time, Steve. But for me, that era, those years we had under Kenny, they were the best.
Yeah,
the best.
They were unreal. On the bench has to be Brad's mum. Worst player ever to wear a Millwall top. Paul Goddard. We'll come back to perhaps worst players, Chris, on another show. Harris was Millwall record goal scorer. Yes, he was. Honourable mentions: Robbo, Ray Wilkins, and Morrow. Graham, McGee, Jackett. The managers are coming in now. While the guys put some of their managers in, Ben, proper football is back tomorrow.
It is, mate. It is.
We've had enough of England and their boring.
Look at us now. I've had one game with Joe Edwards. Now going England boring shit.
Yeah, no, we don't want none of that anymore. We're back to the proper stuff. Really excited. Decent crowd tomorrow.
Yeah.
Coventry are the visitors. Perhaps a club in a little bit of a false position, perhaps, based on the strength of their squad. What are you expecting from the game tomorrow?
Yeah, a tough game. I don't think if anyone's looking at their league position and thinking Joe Edwards' second game, nearly full house, we're going to be steamrolling them 4-0 like we Sheffield Wednesday. I don't think that's going to be the case. I've watched Coventry a few times on the telly this year. Most notably, I know it was the first game of the season quite a while ago against Leicester, and they absolutely battered them for about 75 minutes and just couldn't score. So they, for me, are massively, and same again, they played West Brom a couple of weeks ago, battered them, just couldn't score. West Brom scored twice on the break. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game. I've got a little bit of a soft spot, not a soft spot, I just like Coventry. I've been through some shit, decent fans. I like Mark Robbins. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game. I really do. But that being said, we can't be in any more confident mood, really, can we, after the Sheffield Wednesday result? Joe's had a few more weeks to be on the training pitch with the lads. So, yeah, be interesting. I think it'll be a tight game, and I think it will be a draw.
Yeah, before I come back, I'll come back to that in a second. Willie Donachie, the Doc, Jacket, George Graham, a lot of managers there that have come through comments for the guys. I have been putting them up on the screen. Again, it's an era thing. I think it's very hard to look past the Doc for what he achieved. But again, in my lifetime, much as to agree with what Ben said, the fact that the years under Kenny Jacket were very, very good. Anthony thinks we're going for another 4-0 win tomorrow. I would,
You're right, mate.
I would. I'd love to say that. I'd love to say that. I think much like Ben's just touched on there, Coventry are not a bad side. They've got a couple of good forwards. They have lost obviously Gyökeres and Hamer, but they have spent a lot of money, and they're probably not quite gelling how they thought or how they would like, especially after making the playoffs last season. Am I right in saying as well that Brooke Norton-Cuffy played for Coventry in the build-up? Have I got that right? He started at Rotherham
started at Rotherham and went to Coventry last year.
Yeah. So again, someone who might know a little bit of inside knowledge on some of their players, that those kind of things don't hurt. I think it'd be a good game. I think it'd be a really good game. I think Coventry have got some good players. We've got some good players. We've got the new manager bounce. Still, after winning the game, I think that carries on a little bit. If you hadn't won that first game, that new manager bounce just falls flat on its face, and no one cares really. But the train is now starting up again. I thought the interview that that Joe Edwards gave, where he spoke about that his family were going to be at the game tomorrow. His dad, basically his biggest supporter, biggest fan. It obviously means a lot to him, and it obviously means a lot to his family that he's kind of stepping out of the shadows and being the main man. And I think it's built up to be a really, really good day. And we know that Millwall typically don't always deliver when on the big
certainly
stage.
in recent years. But I saw someone tweet earlier saying, hopefully it's not a sellout.
Well,
just under will do.
I saw someone say though, if Joe Edwards manages to win and it's a sellout crowd, they was like build the statue immediately or something. So Dan Riggs, 2-0 Millwall, Harding to score, show me the money. Well, I backed that in the last game. Had a nice little win at Sheffield Wednesday. I would imagine the odds on Harding have come down dramatically, seeing as the form is in. But if you do it, let us know.
Just looking now, where's Harding to score any times? He's now 1-3 just to score any time for us.
Wow.
It's not, I'm joking.
I was going to say, are you mad? What? Cov will gel sooner or later. Let's hope later. Yeah, that's always the our next 6 games are ex-Premiership sides: Coventry, Sunderland, Ipswich. I'm assuming that's supposed to be Leicester. I think Sunderland and Coventry, you can they are ex-Premier League sides, but they've not been there for a while. So yeah, I don't know if they have the Coventry this season, for example, selling your best players and buying risky players. Yeah, and what's interesting on that, Connor, and Ben will come on to this. We didn't lose Fleming. Now, last year, if you look at a lot of the top Championship players, they're not in the Championship anymore. Like the goal scorers. I mean, Akpom moved out to Ajax, I think. Bought him in the end. Gyökeres has gone to Benfica.
Sporting Lisbon.
Sporting Lisbon. That's right. Hamer went up to the Premier League with
United.
Yep. So obviously we've held on to Fleming. We all know that there's a whole story and hoo-ha about that. But if you don't make it out of this league, if you don't get over the line, the Sharks just come in and they pick apart your team, and you do essentially have to start again.
Yeah, and it just goes to show how important that recruitment piece is after. And not to kind of touch upon it too much, but obviously I was very vocal about wanting to sell Fleming and cash in. But you look at what Coventry have done. They spent, was it 9 million quid on that American chap? Was it Hadji?
Right, Hadji Wright, is it?
Hadji Wright, yeah, that's him. 9 million quid, and from what I've seen, I mean, I know you're losing Gyökeres, arguably probably the best player in the league last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, they spent a lot of money on him for Coventry standards, for anyone's standards, really. But he hasn't really hit the ground running. So it just goes to show, if you do cash in on your big players, that the importance of them getting that next one right. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens moving forward with Fleming, doesn't it? See if Burnley come in again if his form picks up now this side of the new year. That they're struggling are they as attractive as they were in the summer? Be interesting to see what happens.
Plus, as well, if we're playing a different style of football, you never know, that could even bring even a bit more out of Fleming. Football is a distraction while they take your family's freedoms. No idea what that means, but sure. While I go through some of these comments, do you think there'll be many changes from the side that Joe Edwards picked against Sheffield Wednesday?
I don't think you can really, can you, mate? After a 4-0 win, I think I just think unless someone's really performing well in training over the last couple of weeks, that's the only way he's going to make changes. Yeah, for me, I don't see how you can after a 4-0 win. I know people may be coming back. Oh, yeah. Actually, just want to touch on something in a sec, but kind of feeds into my comment.
I know what you're going to say.
Just fitness and well-being, I guess, isn't it? Yeah, over this last couple of weeks, are any niggles that we've got? Another piece that we saw today, it seems as though Sarkic is going to be eased back into the side. So, yeah, I don't think there really changes personally, mate. I think it'll be the same starting 11.
And to haven't Coventry only got 1 point in the last 4 games. They have, but again, I think it's a little bit of a false position. Millwall 2-0, come on, Wall. Rowett always struggled against Coventry, so good test for Edwards. Yeah, he did. They were a little bit of a bogey team for Rowett. Cloughy played in the playoff final. Yes, he did. Cov lost a few key players since last season. Still a decent team. This is a great point from Mark. Coventry, I think, are suffering from having a high-profile goal scorer, and they didn't get so many goals from around the rest of the team. England the same when Kane isn't playing. And interestingly, Mill were the same last year. When Fleming and Bradshaw didn't do anything, I know we had 2. When they didn't do anything, we didn't score really. We struggled.
Well, Coventry had 2 as well. They had Hamer last year. So
yeah. So they definitely fall into that category, and it's not quite what I say. How you replace Victor Gyökeres.
They also had who's their centre? They've got a centre midfielder that's been at the club forever. I think he did his cruciate. I think he's been out for a while. His name completely escapes me.
I'm not sure. Coventry are missing Gustavo Hamer.
Callum O'Hare?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I think he's been out for a while. Is he their captain, or might be club captain, or he's certainly been there for a long time anyway. And I think he came back in the West Brom game. So yeah, they lost their 2 best players, and they've had injuries. So yeah, it will be a tough game. I really do think it'll be a tough test.
Yeah, there we go. Think of have a hair back for long-term injury. Again, he's still coming back. Though might have a little bit of the fitness issue. Who knows? 3-1 Wall. We've got a Coventry fan in the chat, so let's be careful here. Cov City have a lot of players who came and are still bedding in. Right for us is getting chances, just not real clear-cut ones. We absolutely battered Norwich at home and only drew. Right.
Yeah, Glenn. So I've seen. Oh, sorry, mate.
So right, will come good as will Sims. Gyökeres and Hamer were freak players who arguably had 2 best 2 seasons of their career for us. I agree. I agree. They did have it. Was exceptionally good. But Gyökeres was good the year. I think, if memory serves me well, the back end of the season before started to look quite good, and then last season just tore it up.
Do you know what? This is going to sound mental. Everyone's going to go nuts here. But I mean, you look at clubs like Man United who couldn't find a number 9. How the fuck they haven't gone and got Gyökeres? Like, just people like that. Like, clubs just overlook Championship players now. It's ridiculous. I would argue with anyone that Gyökeres could play for Man United. Is he any worse than Hoyland? I don't know anything about the young lad. And Hamer, I mean, I thought he was top class. How, no disrespect to Sheffield United, but how he hasn't gone to a bigger, better Premier League side is beyond me. But yeah, interesting, Glenn. So I think you're a good side. I've watched you a few times this year when you've been on telly, and you've outperformed your results.
Maybe Sarkic for Bart. That's an interesting one. I think it would be harsh to drop Bart personally. I know.
So I think come out today as well, so that's not going to happen. They're going to ease him back.
Yeah. I also think, and I made the comment about the fact that the board have spent over £1 million on a goalkeeper. They're probably not going to be best pleased with him sitting on the bench. However, Bart has been. I saw a stat the other day that Bart is ranked either 3rd or 4th as the top-rated goalkeeper in the Championship this season.
Say percentage
based on that. It's based on a rating score. I don't know quite what it was, but he was ranked on whatever the stats they were using. It was like like on Flash Scores they give like a 7, a 6, or whatever.
Oh, it was
His
like
average,
actual match rating.
yeah, his average score was the 4th highest for a goalkeeper in the Championship this year. Now, if you think about he has made a couple of howlers. I'm not skirting around that, but some of his saves have been incredible. And I thought at Sheffield Wednesday, I know you win 4-0, he looks comfortable. He made some good saves in that second half.
He really did. And we were obviously down the other end, so we didn't really see him too much. And there was a couple of videos that I put in our WhatsApp group that were filmed from Sheffield Wednesday sort of match vloggers or whatever they are. And they were 2 decent saves he made in the second half. They were really decent saves. And at the time, you never know, do you? They go in and score there 3-1. Do we get a bit nervous? Do we carry on doing what we were doing?
Yeah.
So they were really important saves and good saves as well.
Going to be a tight game. All depends how bad we want something for it. I hope the players has it hope Edwards has the players on it from the off. I think he will. I think he will. Back to earth with about 0-2. Hope I'm wrong. Well, right. How do we ban people? Can't have that. Okay. Joe Edwards' first home game. We can't be having that. Can't be having that, lads. Robinson's a good coach. It's a tough one for us with huge amount of expectation. Glenn has come back. Guy, Chris and Hamer can score or create goals out of nothing. O'Hare's back now, but he's not at form. We're back at nearly full strength. Yeah, I think we are as well. We're quite close to being at full strength as tomorrow as well. I think our bench tomorrow is going to look seriously healthy. If anything, and that again makes the first team hopefully even stronger. If the Den stays low and does what we do for 90 minutes, no doubt a win is coming. How many day trippers though? Kill the vibe. I'm not going to defend day trippers on the basis that Mickey will probably, his head will be exploding somewhere if we do that. But I don't necessarily think it was just the fact that the day trippers were killing the vibe. I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that Gary Rowett's football was killing the vibe. And I'm not saying that Edwards has got to come out and we've got to go gung ho, but if we're on the front foot, don't matter who's sitting, you're going to be entertained. You're going to be drawn into that. Last week, 2 weeks ago at Sheffield, up at Sheffield, I know it's an away day, and an away day there is a different atmosphere, but
it was as loud as I heard it.
Yeah, you couldn't help be drawn into the way we were playing and the excitement and the way they were moving the ball and passing and creating chances. We were just sucked in. It was like, right, okay, this is new. And if you get that at the Den, I think it's going to be. I think it'd be some atmosphere. I mean, look, let's not, if it's another 4-0, great. But I think it could be very, 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 very loud through parts of the game. This is a good point.
Just going back to that as well. No, I was going to say, Steve, in nearly every single one of Edwards' interviews, he's mentioned about being on the front foot at home and mentioned the importance of the crowd. So it was clearly something that maybe the board spoke to him about, or the candidates that interviewed for the job. So it's not lost on him. He knows that. So yeah, if it was one of our biggest faults with Rowett, wasn't it? How he just didn't utilise that home crowd. So if Edwards can, then he'll be onto a good thing. But yeah, so nearly every interview he's had, he's mentioned about being aggressive and on the front foot, but also realising we can't do it for 90 minutes. So it's about how we get out of those periods, and Coventry will have spells tomorrow.
Yeah, I sometimes just managing a game of football, and that's
he spoke about that,
what he's paid to do. You manage a game of football. No, if you watch Man City do not go gung ho for 90 minutes. They control the ball, they dictate the play, they play their own way. I'm not saying that we're going to be able to do what Man City did, but I wish. You're the one who wants to play all out attack football. I just think I think that there's going to be times where teams are going to have a little bit more of the ball, and we have to accept that. We just have to accept that we're not going to be able to control the ball for 90 minutes. But when we do have it, it's how we use it, and it's how we're trying to get into attacking positions. That point from Mark: 3 games in a week, so I think Bart might be rested for one of the later games, but Bart deserves his spot on form. That's a great point. I don't think his knees can hold up for 3 games in a week. It's just not going to happen. And the thing is, one of those games is against his old club.
By the end of it, he's kicking. He won't be able to get it out of the box, bless him.
No. And he's going to want to play against Ipswich. he'd be desperate to be fit and able to play at Ipswich. It's his club. He's got a lot of fond memories of, and they think a lot of him. I think he still lives quite close to, or he certainly got a house there. So he'll definitely want to. He'll definitely want to play. Ari Bart still frustrating. Would have easily made the playoffs with Bart in goal last season. Well,
Gonna make the playoffs this year with Bart in goal, mate. So it's all right. Don't worry about it, John.
54 minutes, 42 seconds. We need to clip that for later on in the year. Guy Chris was the best player in the Championship by far. How Burnley, Sheffield United didn't buy him is baffling. I agree. Any of the Premier League sides put in a bid for him.
Well, mate, how many teams need a centre forward? It's mad. And how many teams would he have not got into? Like, that's what I think. And there ain't many.
No, and he's scoring. His record out in Portugal is really good as well at the moment. So again, and for Sweden as well, I think he's done all right. At Wednesday, it seemed like Edwards got the Millwall fans. We'll see tomorrow he plays, and if he utilises the crowd if need be. Yeah, I think away from home and in his first game, it wasn't a free hit, but I think when he was 2-0 up at half time going in, I think he really thought, hold on a minute, I can really get the fans on board here and we can make something of this. Look, he had the dream start. There's no better way. What more could you do?
Yeah.
Apart from for you, Bradford's getting a goal or something, or Romain Esse coming on and getting a goal or something. What more could he do? I think it'd be a good game tomorrow. I think there'll be a lot of excitement. Nothing to do with day trippers. Still have the usual 12,000 ridiculous comment. I'm inclined to agree to a certain extent. I think it will be slightly different. I think tomorrow, the first 5-10 minutes, the crowd are going to be bang up for it, regardless of what happens. There's going to be some goals in this one. I'm going to get some attention when I say 3-1 to Wall. Leeds just had a goal disallowed in the 89th minute. That is fantastic. I think they're playing Rotherham this evening.
Yes, 1-0 in a minute.
Yeah, but when you get the Yanks going high five and a throwing kind of. Bar has to play at Ipswich, surely. You'd think so. It's a pity that we don't have extra 5,000 seats that the stadium was originally designed to accommodate. That would make a big difference. It would, but also
we haven't sold out tomorrow, have we?
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, at Sheffield Wednesday, the players play for the coach, and they will do the same as there's no row at Tactics. I think they did play for him. I know that sounds stupid, but I really think they played for him because I think they believe that they're better than what they were previously being asked to do, and I think that counts for a lot. When players are happy, you can tell the players. You could see they were enjoying the style of football. Even a full house, I still see loads of empty seats. Don't think an extra 5,000 will make a difference. It might if we got promoted, but right now I don't know. Rotherham 1, Leeds 1. Let's all laugh at Leeds. Will playing Bart at Ipswich help or hinder, though? Will the connection for his performance? I don't think so. Most professional footballers are that they're professional. He's going to want to go there and he's going to want to put on a good performance, even against an old side. So I don't see that being too much of an issue personally. Asked you earlier, Ben, about changes to the side tomorrow. I don't think there'll be any myself. I think there is an argument possibly that Edwards may, if he's fit, I'm not sure, but excuse me, they see Joe Bryan perhaps at left back if he's fit. He posted in the week on his Instagram that he was back training. It possibly would be a little bit harsh on Murray Wallace because I thought he was very good against Sheffield Wednesday in the last game, but that could be one maybe. But other than that, I don't think there'll be any changes either.
Yeah, I just can't see it, mate. So, unless someone has been outperforming, as I said earlier in training, has been really impressive, then yeah, I just can't see there being any changes. How can you after a 4-0 defeat? I'd be surprised. Even with Muzza, as we said, it was Muzza's best game for a long time. So yeah, I can't see us making any changes, to be honest, mate. Only if they're forced. So yeah, same 11 for me.
This next comment is
Brad's mum.
I'm gonna I'm gonna let you take this one, Ben. I will comment after. This is from Connor.
I'm just not even. Yeah, but on the basis of what I've just said, with taking my Bradders tinted glasses off, I think it's going to be the same 11 unless it's an enforced change. If that's a injury or tightness, whatever from the week, then that's the only way there's going to be changes. But yeah, not for me. Bradders all day in general as well, not just tomorrow.
I am erring. You play Bradshaw because we won the last game 4-0. However,
can we end the stream?
I think there is a case for Kevin Nisbet to get an opportunity in this team once he's back to full fitness, because Bradshaw's record this year hasn't been the same as what it was last year. Now, admittedly, the service has been very poor. However, I would stick with Bradshaw for now, but I don't think it would be long until Nisbet is perhaps potentially knocking on the door to be trying to get a starting spot in the team. Sorry, Ben.
Just on that. And it's something we've spoken about. Do we think Nisbet's got the pressing capabilities? I haven't seen enough of him to comment in that capacity, but do we think he's got the pressing capability off the ball? And Edwards has made a point of what we need to do, not just with the ball, but when we're out of possession as well. Do we think Nisbet wants to play like that, can play like that? Again, don't know what he's like for Hibs, but
I don't think he does. He certainly doesn't have the same, in my opinion, the same pressing game that Tom Bradshaw has. I think the difference is, though, Nisbet and Bradshaw were both playing as a lone striker with everybody else miles away from them. If I know it's only one game, but how close was Fleming to Bradshaw? Pretty much all game. He was. Yeah. They were always trying to link the play, little 1-2s. If you've got Nisbet with someone like that with him, so he doesn't have to run all the way across the back line, I think he could probably do it, but maybe not for as long as Bradshaw. If he's asked to do it on his own, no chance. And I think that's why we never saw any much out of him, because he just didn't want to do it. And that's that.
It's a very good place to be in, just to caveat that. To have two strikers that were kind of arguing over like it, genuinely.
Yeah.
It's not a position we've been in for a while, is it? So
no.
For me, and again, take my brother's tinted glasses off. I'm happy with either of them. To be fair, if Nisbet can do what we hope he can off the ball or whatever he's going to want, then yeah, more than happy with Nisbet playing.
I actually think that Edwards is going to, maybe not in the winter. I think in the summer, I think he's going to look for a different type of striker to both of them. Personally,
yeah, we said that, didn't we?
Yeah, we were talking about that. And again, it's no disrespect to either of them. I don't know. I've just got a feeling that Edwards might want something a little bit, either someone with a lot of pace, someone really with a lot of pace to get, like a Maku, but maybe someone with a little bit more experience, or that bulky, bigger striker, maybe, but a bit like Morrison. When Morrison come to us, he had a bit of pace, didn't he? He wasn't slow at all, but could hold the ball up and get in behind. Bart needing a rest, not sure about that, lads. He will do more dynamite in training, I would imagine. It's more so his knee, isn't it? I think we know he's got problems with his knee and he's getting older. He might be fine, but I think that's definitely on the cards. I knew Ben would pick Nisbet. Did Norton Cuffy goal remind anyone of Marlon's goal at Walsall a few years back? Sort of, yeah. I was at that Walsall game when Marlon made his debut and scored that goal. Unbelievable goal, 1-2 with Wallace. You think, hold on, when have Millwall had a right back that could do that? Norton Cuffy, very, very similar. Very, very similar. Defo Nisbet tomorrow be chomping at the bit to impress Joe Edwards. Yeah, he will, but again, I think it would be harsh to drop Bradshaw. This looks like, I don't know if this is an Arsenal fan. How's Norton Cuffy doing? I can't see what that.
No, is it?
Glenn, if you're an Arsenal fan, if you're not, I don't know. You're just asking it. I assume he may be an Arsenal fan. He's doing okay going forward. Very, very good. Very confident on the ball. Perhaps for me, needs to release it a little bit quicker. And if he's going to play in a defence, a more defensive role, I think he probably needs to work a little bit on his positioning. But overall, I think he's been quite good, and going forward, certainly has got a lot to offer.
Yeah, end product for me just needs to improve. Do I think he'll play for
Yep.
Arsenal? Absolutely no chance.
No, he won't. He won't play in the Arsenal team. No way. They do that though, don't they? They're like Chelsea. They loan out all these players, and then eventually someone picks them up. So
Yeah.
yeah, Bradshaw over Nisbet. I would like both up front with Fleming behind them. Again, Edwards looks to want to play the 4-4-1-1 or 4-4-2, however you want to word it. Again, will he change drastically? I don't know, but maybe who knows? Both Nisbet and Bradders will get goals now under Edwards. Yeah, perhaps. I think we will see a lot. We'll definitely see a lot more chances created.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And again, I'm not just blowing a Bradshaw horn here, but he got an assist and he nearly got in front for the Harding goal, didn't he? And I just that you saw that link up play now, so I just think the output from everyone, I think it's going to improve. And as you say, Matt, I think we're going to see clearer cut chances now that we're going to create.
I'm not going to try and pronounce that, so I'm just going to call him Nonny. At Chelsea and England under 21, is he the sort of player we might attract now? Absolutely. Look, I don't think we should be too harsh on Edwards signings, because he can't just walk. He's not just going to be able to sign all of these young England players. That ain't going to work. That's just not how it is. However, I do think we are going to, the type of players we may go after, especially loans, are going to be very, very different to the ones that we've been going for in recent times as well. Oh God. Has tattooed arm helped you out of the shit, Ben?
It has. Can you see that? Thanks, Richard.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, Richard. I should say I did message back your partner, say thank you for the Christmas decorations box. Obviously, I'm assuming, Ben, you've got yours as.
I have. Yeah, I've got. Yeah. I was. I've got two.
Oh, there we go. They are fantastic, Richard. Thank you once again. When the decorations go up, they're definitely going to be on the tree. I'm going to get some pictures put on social media and get some things, some bits and pieces shared. It's excellent quality. Very, very appreciated. We haven't got our key rings yet because we've not seen Mickey. We haven't been able to get those just yet, but I'm waiting to put that on my key as well. So thank you very much. This is fantastic. Not the dad as well, Ben, blowing Bradder's horn. We need to keep giving Amaku chances. He scores at international level, needs coaching. Maybe we'll put Bradders and Nisbet on the bench. Hope so. He must take his chances and enjoy it, though. Amaku is an interesting one because I don't know about you, Ben. The last home game, which wasn't under Edwards, he looked like he just, I don't know, there was something about him. He was a bit reluctant. And I actually thought the same on at Sheffield Wednesday. He just didn't look as sharp as you'd expect him to. I know he's gone off to Ireland under 21s. He scored and got an assist, which is great. But do you think he's kind of suffering a little bit? I use this loosely, a bit like what Aidan O'Brien, because Aidan O'Brien was a striker but was shoved out wide because that's kind of the only place he could fit in the team. Amaku probably wants to play through the middle, but he's not likely to get ahead of Bradshaw and Nisbet at the moment. So he's shoved out wide. And does he really want to play there?
Yeah, I don't know. It probably feels like he is just being made into a bit of a makeshift winger, isn't he? I think for Shamrock, he played down the middle, didn't he? And I think he does for Ireland as well. So, yeah, possibly. There's an argument for that. Be interesting to see maybe towards the end of the year what we do with Amaku, and if Bradders doesn't get a contract renewal, his contract's up in the summer. Is Amaku then going to be looked at to be that replacement for Bradders? So will he start getting a few more chances? But again, as you say, mate, he's already number 3 in the pecking order. That's then if Edwards doesn't go out in January to get a different type of centre forward with a bit more experience, a little bit older, or from a Chelsea or a big Premiership club. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for him to get his chance down the middle, I feel like.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. There was one pass that I think it was Sav that played it at Sheffield Wednesday. Played it through along the floor, and Fleming ran onto it and tried to run through, and he didn't hit it in the end. You put a Maku on the end of that, he gets away from the defender and he's one-on-one. Fleming didn't quite have the pace, and that's maybe where a Maku would get a chance, because if we're going to play that style of football and try and find that kind of killer pass, that's how I refer to it, for someone to run onto. That's where a Maku comes to life. It's just how much of an opportunity is he going to get through the middle? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
The Chelsea lad was signed from PSV, no chance of a loan. I think that's someone different. That's someone different. One. Is it?
Yeah, that's that Nonny.
Is it the same one?
Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe not then. But we are going to look at. I think we are going to look at a different selection of players, perhaps under Edwards. Not necessarily going to get them all. And this is one thing that I think, and I often say this, and it usually falls on deaf ears. Just because we want a player, or a player becomes available, does not mean that they want to come to Millwall. They have to want to do it as well. So Edwards could go to Chelsea and he could ask for bloody, I don't know, Raheem Sterling on loan. Don't mean it's going to happen, does it? There has to be a little bit of give and take. But I think the players that we're linked with and eventually sign, whether on loan or permanently, will be a different caliber, a different quality, a step up. Again, Rowett did the same thing. And I think Edwards will now take us to that next level. I
really do think that, and it'll be interesting to see what he does in January, whether he goes back to Chelsea or if there's anyone else that he's going to kind of tap into. But I really do think now you will see. I think clubs will be more willing to send us players now. I think that there's just been a lot made about Edwards. I feel like we don't get. So would I. There's been a lot made, I feel like, of Edwards' appointment. As we've seen, he's been on TalkSport a couple of times. They were talking about him 2 days ago, 3 days ago this week. He's been on BBC this week. There's a lot of noise around the appointment, I feel like. So maybe clubs will now think that they're not going to be sent to Millwall to maybe toughen them up or it's going to be a certain way of playing. They may look at it now and actually say, we're going to send them there because they're actually going to improve under a good coach, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. Let's just send the scouts to Holland and Belgium. Well, if we sign anyone like the last 2 players we got from both of those countries, then, again, in the week I went to see, I went to go and watch Ebbsfleet. Obviously, one of my mates and his dad go quite a lot, and it's only 20 minutes up the road for me. And I was talking about Denor at the game, and I just can't believe how we've managed to get him. Alex has just put here how no scouts picked up Denor is beyond me. I'm with you 100%, Alex. He is phenomenal, and he's playing the Champions League, and you think, how did they do that? What have they promised him? Like, what
that's the thing. Yeah, what we promised him.
MFC 1885. I would play a Maku as a striker tomorrow. He deserves a chance. Not sure if you've seen his goal for Ireland. He's pressing high and steals the ball off the defender. I did see a clip on Twitter, or X as it is now. So again, I think Maku probably deserves a chance, and I think he's likely to get one at some point. Again, 3 games in a week. Is Bradshaw going to be able to play that pressing game for all 3 games? And he has been away on international duty. We don't know. So there might be squad rotation. But this is where we're now coming into a period where there's a lot of games coming up before Christmas, and we're back to a fairly fully strength squad. So this is where Edwards is going to have to utilise the players. He's going to have to find a way of making it work as and when he needs to freshen it up. Ben, we probably won't. Obviously, we started a bit later. So we're probably not going to do the length of show that we probably usually would. I'm going to ask you now for a prediction for tomorrow and some goal scorers, unless you pick a 0-0.
No, I'm not going to pick a 0-0. I'm going to pick a 1-1 though. I do think it'll be a tough game tomorrow. I think it'll be a tight game. As I said earlier, I think that Coventry are in a false position. Anyone thinks that, we're just going to roll them. I think they're going to be in for a little bit of a shock. They are a good side. I've watched them a few times, as I keep saying. So, I think they're in a bit of a false position. I think it'll be a draw, which I'd take. I'd take a draw. Keep the momentum up. Tough game and then on Tuesday night. I'll go 1-1. And I will say Fleming's going to score. I mean, it's not inspiring, I know, but I just the way he played against Sheffield Wednesday. I think again, as we said, he's gonna get a few more clearer cut chances now.
Anthony, don't think it's so much who we look at under Edwards. It's far more attractive than Routball. Parrott was a good example. Yeah, perhaps. I mean, Parrott just didn't work, did it? It just didn't work. But I guess there is, we still are an attractive proposition, but even more so with a different coach. We've got 2-0 Millwall, Bradshaw, Harding. 2-0 Bradders Harding, 2-0 Cooper and Bradders, 2-1 Wall, 2-2. I'm going to go with what Chris said there. I'm going to go with 2-1 to Millwall. I can see Coventry scoring, but I think, and I've possibly setting myself up for massive disappointment here, but I can see the crowd and the atmosphere and the day, the occasion. I can see that carrying us over the line. Thomas has got 2-1, Fleming and Bradshaw. I'm going to go for Casper.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go for Casper to get his first goal in a Millwall shirt. I can see him popping up. And
yeah, no, I just also point out before you do that, the amount of people that have said Bradders is going to score, yet he gets all the hate. I'm just
You're going to love me now because I'm going to say that Bradshaw's going to score the winner.
There you
go. Casper and Bradshaw to carry us to a 2-1 victory tomorrow. Guys, we started late. We had Mickey had issues with his laptop and everything. Ben stepped in last minute, had other things on, but is the man of the people and stepped Batman. in and you are like Batman. You're my Batman.
Thanks, man.
Casper to score, big fan of that. I'm going to steal that and use that on social media tomorrow. Yeah, Ben stepped in. We're obviously later. I know there was some comments up, people saying where are they and things like that. So apologies that we're a bit later, but we wanted to put the show on. We didn't obviously do one last Sunday. We want to do this every Friday and Sunday, and you guys interact with us and you waited and stuck it out. So thank you very much. Before I finish off, Ben, any last words, any words of wisdom, any comments about Tom Bradshaw that you haven't already got to?
No, nothing on Bradders. I think it'll be a good day tomorrow. I think it'll be an entertaining game. It'll be interesting to see how we come out of these next 3 tough games all in a week. So if we can get 3 points tomorrow, it'll be exciting to go into that Ipswich game then and see how we get on. But yeah, no, it'll be a good game tomorrow. Give us a roar for us.
Absolutely. Anthony, 4-2 Wall cracking game. I look forward to that. Good show. Thank you. Great show, boys. Guys, thank you very much for your comments. Again, without the comments, sometimes we don't have much to talk about, or we it gives us certainly a lot of things to feed off of. So we really appreciate that. Chris, get Mickey to pay his internet bill. We will be on at him as soon as possible to make sure he is back ready on Sunday. We again couple of comments coming through saying thanks. Again, we love doing this. It's we love the club, we love talking about it, and hopefully you guys enjoy listening to us. This goes live obviously on YouTube now. It stays up there, so if you want to rewind it back and listen to it again, then feel free to. It goes out on Spotify. We've got a load of shows coming up. We've got more lives. We'll be back on Sunday at 9 o'clock, and it will be 9 o'clock. There won't be any change to the time. If Mickey isn't ready to go, I will be. So we'll definitely be on there. Mike, I will see you tomorrow. Hope your journey isn't too bad. He travels from Peterborough for home game, so hopefully, I know it's not as far as you, Ben, but it's still quite a trek compared to most. Please like and subscribe. Follow us across all the socials. We've got loads of stuff coming. We've got potentially Christmas live shows coming. We'll be at away days. We'll be at home games. If you want to come and say hello to us, feel free. We don't bite. And I couldn't do a show and I couldn't do an outro without saying I won't be wearing any shorts for the foreseeable future because it is bloody cold out there. Danny, 8 p.m. start is better than 9. We do that on a Friday usually. On a Sunday, again, it's some of the guys have kids, so getting them settled and whatnot. That's why we do 9 o'clock on a Sunday, but it will be back to 8 next week. That's it from me. That's it from Ben. That's been that Millwall podcast. Thank you very much, guys, and we will see you back on Sunday, where hopefully the Lions would have picked up 3 more points.